Hi guys, welcome to the YouTube channel. So in this video, we are going to talk about XPath different functions. So as you guys already know, XPath is mainly used for finding the dynamic web element locator, right? So XPath it provides various functions, and it contains is one of such function which is actually used for finding the dynamic web element on the UI, right? So we can provide any partial element to find the web element as well, right? On the web page, if some ID is getting generated and it is appended at the runtime, it has a dynamic ID, then that time we have to use this contains function to identify such XPath, right? So this is the syntax for writing the contains function XPath, right? So it is starting with the HTML tag, then we have content function, then at the rate attribute name, whatever attribute name we have in the HTML element, right? And we have to pass the attribute value. So let's go to the demo website to identify some of the web elements on the UI. So I have taken this swag lab demo website to identify some of the contents from the next path, right? So let me scroll up and try to identify this username field using a contains functions, right? So as we have seen, the XPath contains always starts with double forward slash, right? And then we have the input tag over here. Let me zoom in a bit, and after double forward slash we have a square bracket, then we have contains, right? Then we have the attribute name. So attribute name over here is like type is one of the attribute, class name is attribute, data test is one of the attribute, id name, and placeholder, all these are different attributes. So let's pick up this id attribute. So we'll say like at the rate id, and we'll pass this id name, which is like user dash name, and I'll just put the single quote and close this braces and square bracket. You can see it has identified this username field uniquely, right? So similarly, we can pass in any attribute out of this. It's not only the ID in all the cases, but we can pass any attribute name. Right now, we can also pass like name over here. If we pass the name, so it is matching. It is giving us like one of one matching node over here, and it is highlighting the username text field, right? So similarly, like we can use any attribute. We can also use placeholder. So let me try to use this placeholder, and let me pass in this username as like this, right? So this is also matching now. It is working fine, right? So normally what happens is like we can see uh, this password field has got dynamic web element over here, right? So mostly when we use this contains function, it's like sometimes when we have like some of the web elements, each time when we refresh the web page and whenever it is getting loaded, this id gets changed each time. So at that time what we do is like we pick up the static portion out of it, right? You can see like the starting portion of this type attribute value is like getting changed each time we are loading the page, and every time it will be like a different number getting appended to this value, right? So what is the static portion of it? Static portion part of it is like password, so we will just pass the value as password. So let's try to frame the XPath using contain function for this element, right? So input is the tag over here, then we have contains function, then we have attribute as type, right? So I'll say attribute as type, then I'll say password. So when you do this, like you can see like it is matching with the password field, right? So XPath mainly is used for dynamic web element identification. So you can use this portion as password, right? And also like sometimes what happens is you can see in the starting here this ID is getting changed, and at the ending of this particular string this value is getting changed. Sometimes you might see like this starting portion is unique, right? And the rest of the portion is not getting changed, and so that time you can also use this, but this is the function in which like you can just use the static portion of it to identify the web element, and you can just hit the web element in that manner. So let's go to some other website. Like this is the website I have taken for the demo purpose, right? So let me inspect this send OTP button, right? So you can see there is one more function we'll discuss here, like just a second. So it is starting with button tag here. If I create the XPath using contains here, right? you can see this button contains the uh, text as send OTP. So we can make use this as send OTP here, right? Context will say contains text, so it will match the text and it will give us single matching mode over here, right? So just a moment. So it is having the tag name as label. So let me change this to label. Now you can see it is giving one of one. So it is matching with this uh, send OTP button, right? And if we pass in this mobile number over here, so it will get activated. And once we hit on this using this XPath that we wrote, so it will work fine. So similarly, like what happens sometimes is like some of the button is there in that like we can make use of those text, right? So those text will be seen like this inside the tag itself. It will be shown like this if I just on comment. See, so it will be highlighted and it will be matching there, right? So if I have to like get the path of this get app using the contains function, so it is starting with span, right? So I'll say span. Let me delete all this and write it from the started. Well, span. Then we have contains. Then we have text, and then we'll pass the text. So the text is data. So just copy this and pass it in the single quote over here and close this one. You can see this matching, right? So similarly, like you can just play around with this function, like this contain function. So you can just make use of this contains text, right? Or any attribute you can see. In the previous example already we have seen in the Swagler demo website, right? So we can pass in any attribute based on our requirement and based on the HTML element that is present in the UI, right? So we can pass in any web element, and also we can use contains function, and we can pass the text like this. Sometimes what happens is like let's say there are two element is having this get app, right? And there are two buttons over here. There is get app and there is one more button that is like get app now. Okay, there is one more button. So what will happen is like if you write the XPath like this, it will match both the buttons. So that time what you can do is you can just pass like this. You do not have to use contains function. Directly you can pass text, right? And if you just remove this bracket here, it will match. Second, text is equal to get over the review. So because of that comma, it was not matching. So you can directly pass the exact text, right? So you can see like some of the buttons, it is having the exact text, and you know for sure like it is not going to change in the future because it might be a figure automation script. So you can pass the text like this. All right. So that's all in this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye. Take care.